Hello and welcome back to Overlay DFS. I'm your host, Ira Silver, and I'm feeling great. I don't know about you, but we got a special show for us today. Joining me for this week's Friday edition of the Overlay Super Contest Picks is my great friend, childhood friend, fellow sports bettor, fellow sports aficionado, Daniel Rosenberg. Daniel, how you doing today?
Doing great, Ira. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Before we jump into discussing our picks of the week for the Super Contest, for those who don't know and are new to the channel, we release 3 videos a week. And for those of you who don't know who Overlay Fantasy Sports are, we are starting the revolution with a single entry GPP. Are you sick and tired of losing on FanDuel and DraftKings to sharks that have over 150 lineups in each contest and you're out of it within the first 5 seconds? I was. That's why I started the revolution at OverlayDFS.com. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Daniel, let's talk about the first game last night. I know it wasn't a pick of ours. I did have some action on the game last night. I had the Eagles +4 and +4.5. I was tempted to take the over here, but I just didn't fire it. I got a little cold feet here. Why don't you take us through the game here, talk about how the Eagles really just dominated and how the Packers really just can't score in the second half. What were your thoughts and feelings about this game?
You know, it was interesting. The Eagles started out really slow, where I kind of thought they were going to start out really fast and maybe falter towards the end. So it was kind of like the opposite game script from what I was expecting. But the Eagles really turned it around. They were able to throw the ball and run the ball extremely well. I don't know why they don't just run the ball with Miles Sanders every time. The fact that they go to Jordan Howard even a little bit, blows my mind.
Well, Jordan had a big game last night for everyone out there in fantasy land. But, yeah, the clear-cut better back to me is definitely Miles Sanders. I mean, but if you look at Philly in weeks 1 through 3, they really struggled running the ball on first and second down. It almost looked like everyone knew what plays they were calling. So I'm glad. I don't know if you got to catch the whole game. I caught most of the game, but I'm glad.
Most of it.
Yeah, I'm glad starting really in the second quarter there, they really got going with their run. They were a little bit more creative with their play calling, and the Packers just really looked like they couldn't stop the run there. So I'm glad they kept pounding it, and Miles Sanders really looks like a stud. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. You know, he was teammates with Saquon Barkley at Penn State, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I really found was Wentz picked his spots well last night. You know, they did a great job of just really intermixing everything evenly, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes. He was good with the football.
He really was. And I did not think Alshon Jeffries was going to be this good this season. And I'm definitely eating some
How
words.
old is he? I feel like he's old, but he probably really isn't that old.
I feel like he's been around a long time. I don't know. I also feel like he's old. And every year I'm just like, I'm going to fade that guy now. But he really ate.
Never the right time.
Yeah, I keep eating my words in my season-long league with the Alshon, that's for sure. Let's jump right into the Sunday slate here. First game on the board here, Texans at home, laying 4.5 against the Camless Panthers. I mean, listen, I don't know if you know this, but Cam Newton hasn't won in 8 games. 8 starts that he's made, he hasn't won. Kyle Allen looked like, he just looks like he is the second coming of Tom Brady here. I don't know if you remember that Cam commercial for NFL Play 360 a few years back with the little kid.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great commercial there. But everyone on Twitter is going nuts with that commercial, saying that was Kyle Allen. Obviously, it wasn't, but pretty funny. What are your thoughts on this game here?
Yeah, I think for the most part, everybody's really overrating how valuable Cam Newton is to the Panthers.
Absolutely.
And I think just being able to get this many points here, give me the Panthers all day. They got a great defense. They're able to throw the ball. Allen, they don't lose anything with Kyle Allen.
I agree with you 100%.
And the question is, are they a better team? You know, a guy like Curtis Samuel that everybody talked about in the offseason is having, he was going to have a breakout year this year. People were talking about him possibly being the number 1 guy, or at least being like a 1B, 1A type guy. And he's just – his first big game of the year was with Kyle. So, I mean,
yeah. It's crazy how much better the Panthers looked on Sunday. Although let's keep it into perspective. They did play the Arizona Cardinals, but he did look great. I'm excited to see what he's got for Sunday. And you know what? If he keeps winning, even if Cam's healthy, I would just stay with the hot hand. Next game on the board, Ravens at home, -6.5 against the Browns. This is a borderline super contest and circa millions play. You see I have the hat on here. I'm in both contests with overlay. This is a borderline play for me. This is number 5/6. So I have 4 solid plays. My plays aren't due for another couple hours here. But Baltimore looks very well coached. Lamar Jackson, the offense looks like they're clicking. Their defense is pretty good. The Browns, on the other hand, are completely on the other side of that storyline. Baker Mayfield looks unbelievably uncomfortable in the pocket. The wide receivers are running next to each other the same routes. Freddie Kitchens, I don't know if it was an audible or not, but Freddie Kitchens calling 4th and 9, a draw play. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? What are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said wholeheartedly. What the hell was that run play?
I have no idea.
Thank you for screwing me out of some money, Freddie Kitchens.
Absolutely. I had that side of the game too, and it was just painful to watch.
It felt like all of Sharp Twitter had that, everybody following the Sharp money. That was a tough loss right there. I really do believe in the Ravens this year, but the fact that this line kind of jumped from 3.5 all the way up to 6.5 over a week span is kind of a lot.
So you think it's a little bit of an overreaction here?
I do. I think if I got that 7 points, I would swing for the fences on.
I think everyone, if they got 7, everyone would go with the Browns. I personally here at 6.5. Again, we gotta understand we're betting numbers, right? We're not betting teams. We're taking the teams into a little bit of account here, but it's really the numbers and the power ratings. Me personally, this is my borderline pick, so it's not an official play just yet. But if I had to go one way right here, it would be the Ravens -6.5 at home against the Browns, who really just don't look like they're clicking just yet.
Yeah, I think that would be my pick as well. Although one little tidbit is that Baltimore failed to cover in all 5 divisional games of theirs when they were a favorite.
Wow, that's a good stat to know, but I think I would have to go with the Ravens here. But again, it hasn't been an official play yet, but let's see what we got. Next game on the board, Giants at home, laying 3 against the Washington Redskins. Now, this is a game that most people in the United States will not be watching on Sunday. However, the Giants faithful, they're very into their team, and they won't be told nothing about Eli Manning. Daniel Jones is the new all-star, the new MVP. He's already in the Hall of Fame, according to them. I think that Daniel Jones did look good in his first game, but we also have to understand he was playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Second point, Case Keenum and the Redskins did move the ball. They have moved the ball the whole year. Both of these defenses are atrocious. If I had to look at anything here, I'd look at the total and the over in this game, considering the fact that both defenses are so bad. But it's not a play for me. If I had to choose one way or the other, gun to my head, it would be the Redskins. I hate to lay points. Who the hell are the Giants to be laying 3? All right. What are your thoughts here?
Absolutely with you. I couldn't have said it any better. No need to talk about this game anymore.
Yeah, no one even cares about this game. Let's just move on.
But I will say, the only thing I will say is the number on the over. I really like that.
Yeah, it's a good number, especially these two defenses are bottom 5 in the league. Moving on, we have the Dolphins at home catching 15.5 against the Chargers, who will be laying that price. Again, and not another game I really want to talk about, so let's just move quick here. But Chargers disappointed me last week. I did not have a good super contest week last week. They were part of that, and I did not like it. It wasn't necessarily my pick, but I'm going to stand by it since it was a team effort. Again, I hate the Chargers this big of a point spread. However, the Dolphins really look like a junior varsity team, and they look like they should be in FBS. So for me, if I had to lean one way or the other, it would be the Chargers. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I'd probably take the Chargers, but really not much here. I'd probably stay away. Don't like giving away 15.5 points if I'm taking the Chargers. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. This is an interesting game for me. Again, not a play for me either, but I'm curious to see what you think here. Colts at home, laying 6.5 against the Raiders. You know, the Raiders really look good the first week. However, the last couple weeks, they haven't really put it together. Colts really, really impressing me so far this season with Jacoby Brissett. I actually really liked him. To really do good things. Once I heard of Andrew Luck's retirement, I think he was very undervalued as a backup quarterback. The Raiders do have a lot of weapons in terms of Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. Curious to know what your thoughts are here. If I had to lean one or the other, it'd be Raiders catching 6.5 on the road here. I just don't know if the Colts are good enough to be laying that many points. What are your thoughts?
yeah, I think here's one that I actually might disagree with you on. I think
Okay.
the Colts are good enough to get the 6.5, or to be minus the 6.5 here. They have a really good team. I
I
think they
agree.
were possible Super Bowl contenders with Andrew Luck. The drop off with Brissett isn't as humongous as people think. And the Raiders are pretty terrible. Like you mentioned, they do have a few good options, but this is kind of one of those lines where I think everybody's saying, like, how in the hell are the Colts getting minus 6.5? But it's just one of those lines that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I really like Frank Wright. So for me, I think the Colts have the advantage in pretty much every category. I just don't know if I want to be laying 6.5 with the Colts. Better
And
team, better coach, but I just not sure about that many points.
little tidbit as well to end with. I know teams before they head to London the next week are only 40% against the spread.
There you
So
go. This is why we have him on the show, ladies and gentlemen. He gives us some really good nuggets. I had no idea about that one. I'm just looking at lines and teams. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good trend to look for. Next game on the board, you got the Lions at home. Home dog here, catching 6.5 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I want nothing to do with this game. I said it last week on the show. I want nothing to do with betting against the Chiefs. They're just too good. They just seem to always cover the point spread. They always seem to just not care and just keep throwing and keep slinging the ball around the field with that Mahomes kid. He's a fantastic player. I'm really excited to see him over the next 10, 15 years in the league. This is a stay away game for me. I don't even have a thought, except for the fact I know that the sharp guys were taking the Lions early in the week, and this line came down, I believe, from 8 all the way to 6.5. I think it might be down to 6 in some spots. But yeah, 6.5, just stay away game for me. What about you?
yeah, at 6.5, I'd probably lean to KC, but yeah, stay away game for me.
Yeah, I think if I got 8, I would take the Lions just as a flyer. But yeah, 6.5, not a good spot here for the Lions coming off that victory last week. Wait, who they play last week?
Did they play the Chargers?
No, Chargers lost to the Texans last week. Yeah, that's what I thought when I said it. Can't remember. Anyways, moving on. Bills at home catching 7 points against the New England Patriots. This is a game that's borderline for me here too. This is
Oh,
gonna.
Detroit beat Philly last week. That
There you
was
go. There
awesome.
you go. There. I
That
knew
was
they had another. I knew
yeah.
they had a big win last week, and it was Philly, and the week before was the Chargers. So I don't know. They might be a little high on those wins, and I think 6.5 is just not
And
enough.
don't forget they got pretty lucky there with all those drop
Absolutely.
passes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Bills at home catching 7. Patriots -7 on the road. Tom Brady. I really like the Bills here. Love Josh Allen. I really think he's coming into his own here in this season. Bills defense, fantastic. My only issue with this game is that just Belichick against young quarterbacks is just fantastic. So for me, it's a borderline play. I have it penciled in with Baltimore as my 5th play. Not sure which way I'm going to go between the Bills, Baltimore, and the Bengals. I got the triple B as my 5th pick. But what are your thoughts here? I love the Bills. I just don't know if it's enough points with Belichick and the Patriots. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually really like the Bills here. Even if you go back to last year, I'm pretty sure the game was like really tight until the fourth quarter. I think if I remember correctly, New England had an interception return for a touchdown
Hmm.
that kind of sealed the game for them. But other than that, I just really think that this is kind of going to be a drag them out kind of football game. Tough, really defensive oriented. And I
Hmm.
think we'll see a score below the total as well. I think we'll hit under 40 points here.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was going to suggest, what about teasing the under and teasing the Bills to 13 and 48 and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I like that play a lot. I really like the Bills here at the 7 number, and if you get 7.5, which I know they have
Is it
that
is
some
it
places,
floating out there right now, the 7.5?
I have seen it a few places.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely over the touchdown. I like the Bills at 7. It's a borderline play for me. We'll talk. We'll get into who I'm going to slot in maybe on the recap show next week. But moving on, next game, Daniel. I know you like this one. I love it too. This is play number 1 for me on the board here. Tennessee on the road at Atlanta, catching 4 points. I think this Titans team is a little bit of an overreaction to last week's Thursday night game where they got kind of blown out by the Jaguars. Mariota looked terrible. The defense didn't look that great against Gardner Minshew, although, one of my favorite players, Gardner Minshew, right now. Titans are my number 1 play on the board here, I would say. And yeah, give me the Titans +4 on the road in Atlanta. What are your thoughts here?
Same. I think Atlanta's pretty bad.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I think they're pretty bad, which is sad. I think Julio Jones is remarkable, and I would love to see him on a better team. Um, but with that being said, the Titans are kind of like this average team that from week to week, it really depends on the matchup. It depends on the flow that they kind of have, and you never
Hmm.
really know what you're going to get. But give me them plus the points. Um, and a little tidbit I got for you is the Falcons are actually 1-10 against the spread over their last 11 against the AFC.
Wow, 1 in 10 against the number. Wow, that's unbelievable. Well, I didn't know that, but I'm glad I'm on that side of
As
the
am I.
equation here.
So let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Let's get the Titans +4. Let's get that dub. All right, next game on the board: Rams -9.5 at home, playing against the Buccaneers. It's not a play for me. Don't want to spend too much time on this game. I will say this though: Jared Goff and Todd Gurley do not look like the same player that they were last year or the year before. I'm very low on the Rams. I am selling their stock right now. I just don't believe in the Bucks enough at 9.5. I just think they're just talent-wise on the defensive side of the ball. The Rams are just too good, and they have enough offense on the offensive side to get the job done against the Buccaneers defense, which isn't so good. However, I do like Bowles as the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. If I had to choose a side, gun to my head, Bucks plus the 9.5. However, this is definitely not a play for me. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think Bowles does a good job at least stopping the run. I think I see here they rank third actually against the run, giving up only 69.7 rushing yards per game.
Oh, great.
So that should prove pretty nice against Gurley. As a diehard Rams fan, I gotta defend them and just say it's probably a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. And
Everyone keeps saying that. I'm not buying it.
but you know what? They're 3-0 while not looking great, and you know we'll see where it goes.
You know what? All I know is that come playoff season, if they still look like this, they're not going to have a chance.
Agreed. We got
Next,
a little while to go.
yeah, next game on the board, we got the Cardinals at home catching 5.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. This is it was almost my favorite play of the day here. I'm going to rank it number 2 on my board. Cardinals, I love me some Kyle Murray. I don't know about you. I think the kid is showing a lot of talent, a lot of poise in the pocket. He's had a couple tough matchups, especially last week. I think that Carolina defensive line really got after him. The Cardinals offensive line, not so great. I'm looking here, Cardinals plus 5.5. I think the Seahawks, I think this is a big overreaction. I don't think the Seahawks are any good. Russell Wilson continues to put up big numbers on a team that is just mediocre, in my opinion, and their defense is not as good as it has been in the past. This is a play. Give me the Cardinals all day plus 5.5. What are your thoughts here, Daniel?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Although there's one little tidbit that I just got from Warren Sharp.
Okay. Shout out Warren Sharp at Sharp Football, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And he was actually saying that they run a lot of 10 personnel sets with 4 wide receivers, and they actually do a really poor job throwing the ball in those sets. And they
have talking about the Cardinals or the Seahawks?
Cardinals, sorry.
Okay.
And the Cardinals, this is with Cliff Kingsbury's new offense, and they happen to throw the ball a lot in that set, but do a really inefficient job of performing it. Mm-hmm. They actually do a much better job running the ball. So it'd be interesting to see if they kind of use that little tidbit to their advantage and run the ball a bit more with David Johnson, which I would kind of even look to play in certain fantasy games.
Yeah, thanks for that nugget. I like it. All I know is that it's probably just because Kyler is still getting used to the pace of the NFL. I think he'll improve as the season goes along, especially in this scheme that Cliff Kingsbury has. I would like to see Cliff Kingsbury have a little bit more balls, though. What are you doing kicking? How many field goals did the guy kick last week inside the 5-yard line? Well, I mean, what is he doing, dude? Kicking's for losers. We all know that.
But how many coaches are doing that?
I mean, they're just trying to protect their job. But, I mean, come on, man. It's just terrible.
I'm sick of it. Let's try and win some football games.
Absolutely. I'm going to get kicking is for losers tattooed on my back, dude. It is just terrible. Not a tramp stamp, like up here on the shoulder.
Upper back.
Yeah, upper back. Yeah, that way everyone can see it. It's like a goalpost here.
Yeah.
Anyways, give me the Cardinals all day long plus 5.5 at home. I like the home dog here in this spot. And I know you do too. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. Daniel's pretty sharp at his sports analysis, so I'm glad I'm on the same side as him there. Next game. I think I heard a stat on the radio here earlier today. The Vikings have 80% of the tickets on them against the Bears. The Bears are minus 1.5 at home. I think that number may have come down even further. I'm not sure. I haven't checked all day.
It was at 3.5.
Yeah, I know. It might have even come down a little bit further. The Vikings are getting 80% of the tickets written on them. I don't see it. I hate the Bears. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like the Vikings. I think they both have great defenses. I think the Bears defense is better. And I think the quarterback situation is both bad. And I'm gonna go ahead and obviously this is a stay away game for me, but again, gun to my head, Bears minus 1.5, but who the hell knows? It's just really a coin toss game for me here.
Yeah, there's actually some really interesting tidbits here. Like the Bears are also going to London next week, so take that for what you will. And Mike Zimmer's teams for the Vikings tend to perform very poorly outdoors. So take that for what you will. But yeah, stay away game for me.
Yeah. All right. Next game on the board, we have the Vic Fangio kicking is for losers. And then he surprised me in week 2 by going for it to kill my bet on the Bears. But we got the Broncos in Mile High -3 against the Gardner Minshew-led Jacksonville Jaguars. I heard Jalen Ramsey is either sick or doing something.
No, he's his wife gave, or I don't know if wife, but he had a baby today, and
so mazel tov.
I think he's questionable for Sunday. But at least I think he actually had a baby, so I think that's the first legitimate thing that's happened to Ramsey this week.
I don't understand what it is, dude. Wait, so your wife has a baby, so you take off a game that's going to cost you $2 million or whatever it's costing, $800,000. I mean, it's crazy to me. You can go see the baby
in the NFL.
Go see the baby on Sunday night. Take off Monday and Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Go win it for the baby, man.
Go win it. Yeah, let's get a Jalen Ramsey Jr. game here. I like the Jags here in this spot. If they're without Jalen, it's a little bit more suspect for me, but Joe Flacco is a bottom 3, bottom 2 quarterback in the league, something like that. I hate Vic Fangio as a head coach, too conservative for me. Give me Gardner Minshew and all the mustache hair +3 on the road in Mile High while he's drinking a Coors Light in the pocket. What do you think?
Give me the guy that tried breaking his own hand to avoid wasting a year of college football.
Let's do it. Give me all the mustache and all the Coors Light for Gardner Minshew.
Oh, I love it.
All right, cool. So that's number 3 off the board for me here. Number 4. I know we disagreed a little bit about this pick. It's not a play for you. However, it is a play for me. Give me the Saints at home, and the Saints go marching in at home against the Cowboys, catching 2.5 here. I think the Cowboys are a very overrated football team. Don't get me wrong. They're good. I still think that they are probably number 3 in terms of popularity and who everyone thinks the public is probably power rating them as the number 3 team in the NFL right now. I don't think they're that good. The Saints coaching is great. Give me Bridgewater. Give me Taysom Hill. Give me Michael Thomas. Give me that defense at home. I'm going to take the Saints plus 2.5 here over the Cowboys.
Yeah, interesting take. I think the Cowboys are playing really well, although they played a pretty easy schedule so far. I do kind of disagree. I would take the Cowboys here. I would take the under as well. I think it may be a drag them out football game similar to last year, which was a 13-10 Cowboy win.
Mm-hmm.
Again, don't forget the Saints barely moved the ball last year with Drew Brees. Are they going to be much better this year with with
Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy Bridgewater, yeah.
Yeah, well, so that's 4 for me. Last game Monday night. This is also, I told you, triple B here for my 5th pick. Bengals, Bills, and Baltimore. Not sure who I'm going to take here, but we got the Steelers at home minus 3.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think here the Steelers are an awful football team. I think that if you actually watched the game last week against the 49ers, they are just really bad, and they were lucky to even score that many points in that game. Their defense is terrible. Not to say that the Bengals are great, but at 3.5, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals here on the road in Heinz Field on Monday Night Football. It'll also give me a reason to watch the Monday night game because it is just garbage out there.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you on this one. I'm going to take the Steelers here. The Bengals have a terrible secondary. They give up a lot of big plays. I think the Steelers have some.
But who? Mason Rudolph? What's his name? Kyle Rudolph? No, Kyle Rudolph's the tight end. Mason Rudolph? Who is this guy?
He's not bad. I think you'll see some big plays to Juju and possibly James Washington. So I'll take the Steelers here. They're not one of my picks this week, but if gun to my head, give me Steelers minus 3.5.
Give me the redhead. Give me Andy Dalton. Let's go. All right, so just to round out and recap everybody, my number 1 play, Tennessee Titans, what was it, +4?
Yes.
+4. Cardinals, +5.5. Number 3, Jags, +3 on the road in Mile High. Number 4, the Saints, +2.5 at home. And number 5 is still undecided, but it's between the Bills, Bengals, and Baltimore. I'm probably going to go ahead and lean Baltimore, but I might play the Bengals just because it's Monday Night Football and it'll give me a reason to watch. I think I'm probably going to eliminate the Bills just based on Belichick and what he does against young quarterbacks. But that's my recap. Daniel, round us out with your 5 and let's go from there.
Yeah, I got the Titans, I got the Bills, I got the Jags, I got the Panthers, and I got the Cardinals. So I think we agree on about 3 there.
3/4.
Yeah. So hopefully it's a good week.
All right. Well, let's get that money. Let's get those W's. Let's move up on the Super Contest. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate all your time. Thank you for the dedication. Thank you for the support at Overlay DFS. And once again, everybody, hit that like and that subscribe button. Like, and subscribe. You can follow us on social media everywhere at Overlay DFS. You can find Daniel at Twitter at D_Rosen13.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe that's his handle. And you can find me at Ira Silver Magic, or obviously follow us at Overlay DFS. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Daniel.
Take care.
All right, bye.